Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic Rider. So I'm gonna show you how I do an evaluation of a horse and kind of work it through some things. So this was a very nice fox trotter, but I think somewhere along the line she kind of got cowboyed and they beat her up a little bit, and so she was very sensitive, uh, went with her head way up in the air and didn't really understand things very well, very reactive, and acted like somebody had kind of kicked her and yanked her around. So I'm going to show you how I took her through the process of getting her to relax and to bring her head down. She was previously kind of yanking on the bit, but that's just because she didn't understand it. So I thought if I talk this through that it might help some of you work with a horse that's either leaning on the bit or yanking on the bit or rooting through it. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to bring her over here and I'm going to start with some lateral flexion. I had done it on the ground, but up in the saddle she really didn't understand. So what I'm doing is just pulling just a tiny bit on the rein, but not too much. And I want her to stand and give to the bit. And I don't expect her to bring her head around to my leg because she doesn't even understand the concept yet. So I'm just trying to get her to tilt her head without her feet moving. So there she did pretty well. She kind of chewed on the bit and licked her lips, and then I released. And then I tried again, and I tried to get just a little bit further. She's a good girl. So she's trying, she just doesn't understand. So when you're teaching them, you want to keep it very slow and really break down the steps. Don't expect them to bring their head all the way around in the beginning. Just get them to tilt it slightly and not pull on the bit and then release. And then you just repeat it over and over, doing it more times and then asking them for more. But you don't want to ask them for too much too fast or you'll confuse them, upset them. They might have a temper tantrum. So see how now she could turn her head more to the right? And she was very stiff, but it's not her fault. So there she's trying. Good girl. And a lot of times when the horses have been abused, I give them little treats when they do the right thing so they understand I'm not going to hurt them and that this is a good thing if they just try and do what I want. So you'll see she's licking her lips a lot more and she's giving farther to the right and to the left. So I'm not yanking her around. I'm being very soft with my hands. And then what I'm going to do is once she understands how to give laterally, then I'm going to ask for vertical flexion, which means I'm going to hold both reins and wait for her to drop her head down. I usually start with pulling one rein a little bit more than the other to help them to try to figure this out. But you might have to take it a lot slower. Again, my timing, because I do this all the time, will be quicker and the horse will understand and I'll be able to release right away. But you want to make sure your lateral flexion is very good before you try to do this vertical flexion. So see, her head goes up, I hold. When she starts to bring it down, I release my fingers. And then you see me pushing the reins real forward. Then I'm going to hold again. As soon as she starts to put her head down, I'm going to release. And then I'm also talking to her, telling her she's doing a good job. Mares really appreciate praise, and it helps them to understand. So a lot of petting, scratching, and telling her she's doing a good job. So now you see she can bring her head down and she couldn't do it at all before. So now I'm going to try it at a walk. And so I'm walking around, I'm making a circle, and I'm starting to bend her to get her body to give, and then I just hold the rein, and you see her head is up. As soon as it starts to come down, I release a little bit. And I'm not throwing my reins away. I'm just pushing my hands just a little forward when she figures it out. So when her head goes up, I apply pressure. When it comes down, I release. So see there, her head is up. You see me holding, and then I'm releasing when she brings her head down. So your timing has to be very good for the horse to learn this fast. Horses are very quick learners, so if you do it correctly with the right timing, they'll figure it out that it's happier for them to have their head down versus having their head up in the air or pulling on the bit. So there she's kind of pulling on the bit. She's got it way up. See, it's up by my chest level. So I just keep holding and waiting, and then she starts to give. Good girl. She's doing a good job. So I'm just going to repeat this over and over, and I'm bending and trying to get her body to be not so stiff, because she was very, very stiff when she came in. So that's pretty good with her head right there. But you'll see it's going to go up and down because this is her first time learning this and she has no clue. So she's going to keep testing. Is my head supposed to be up or is it down? So there, she's doing a really good job. So I'm being very soft with my hands, but I'm still making my circles. I picked up a little contact there and she pulled against the bit. So I just hold and wait, and then ask her to give. Now the pole's just there. She's not pacey, so I don't need the pole for that. I'm just going over the pole just to make sure she's fine going over poles and it doesn't have an issue with it. So now I'm doing a serpentine. I'm just weaving back and forth. See her throw her head up. So I just stopped her and said calmly, bring your head back down. Good girl. And then we'll go back to our serpentine again. You don't want to get in a fight or a yanking fight. You just want to hold pressure. When they give, then you release back, because the horse relearns from the release of the pressure, not actually from the pressure. So that's better. So you'll see her head's going now down below like my saddle horn. And of course it just went up again and now it's back down. So that's what happens in the beginning. The horse's head is going to keep going up and down until they figure out that it's much more pleasant for them if they just keep their head down. So there it's up. I hold pressure, hold, release. Hold, head going up, release. And you repeat this over and over again. You don't want to start gating. You want to do this at a standstill and then at a walk, because the faster you go, the harder it's going to be. So you want to make sure you get it done really well at that walk, and then also anytime you stop that they keep their head down. So there I'm stopping, I hold, and then I release. Yeah. Now I'm asking her to back up. They couldn't back her up either in the beginning. So now that her head's down, she's like, oh, I can back up. And then you see I try to give her a little treat, and she's like, I don't even understand, lady. Oh, I get a treat? Huh. Maybe I will keep my head down. So again, she was a little nervous, a little sensitive. So now I'm letting her just kind of sit and settle. And then I test to see how will they stand there on a loose rein. If she walked away, I might do a one rein stop, or I might just pick up my reins and stop her. It just depends on the horse on doing different things. But you'll see I'm sitting there for a fair amount of time, just letting her settle like it's no big deal. So they previously rode her fast and kind of ran her around the arena, so that's what she thinks is going to happen to her. And I want to tell her, no, your life's much better now, so you're just going to get scratches when you do the right thing. Good girl. And just let her know that she can stand and relax, and we're not going to get after her or do anything mean to her. So now you'll see I'm picking up my reins. I put a little pressure on. Once her head comes down, then you see me pushing my hands forward. And again, I'm not expecting her to keep her head down at this point in time. I know it's going to go up and down, and then each day it'll just get better. Horses are very smart, and if you have good timing and you're good with your releases, they'll figure this stuff out pretty darn fast. So there she looks quite nice and relaxed. And so when her head's down, I am being very soft with my hands. The bit I'm using is just a mylar bit. It's a short shank. And it just helps to get the message across faster. With a snaffle, I'd have to pull just a little bit harder. And I want to make sure I can really give and release to her. So the mylar bits will help you to bring their heads down, where a wonder bit actually helps you to bring their head kind of up. So now I'm just working on circles again. You'll see her head going up and down. And you'll see kind of when her head comes up, she gets a little bit more lateral. When she's loose, she actually trots. So you would never know. And she looks like a quarter horse to everybody, but she's not. She's a foxtrotter. But you'll see her gait will change depending where her head is up or down. So I want her head down so her back will be a little bit more relaxed and she'll be more comfortable. There it goes up. I just hold pressure, then I release when it comes down. So now I'm starting to go a little bit faster. Going more towards her first gait. But every time that head goes up, I hold pressure on her to bring it back down. So again, as I increase the speed, her head's starting to go up and down again, just like it did at the beginning of the walk. Because every time you go faster, it's going to be harder. And so I got to teach her slowly, like, no, just keep your head down. No matter what speed we're going, I want you to keep your head down. And every time she brings it down, I'm going to release. And when I say release, it just means I'm either opening my fingers up slightly or I'm pushing my arms forward. So now I'm starting to go faster. See her head up. That's what she's used to, that she was used to racking with her head way up. Which is fine because it does help you to get the rack, but you want to make sure your horse knows to give to the bit and not to lean on it. And that's what I'm trying to teach her, and then I'm trying to see, will she do a foxtrot if I bring her head down, or the racking gait is the only thing she's able to do. So now I'm back to walking. I'm just trying to settle her back down, get her to relax again. There, we're going a little faster. And you'll see your head's back up. That's okay. There, it's way up. Now we're bringing it back down. So we're just gently asking her to keep bringing her head down and to relax her back. And there I'm starting to play around a little bit to see, is she smoother with her head up? Is she smoother on a looser rein? Or is she smoother with her head down when I collect her? Because each horse is different on where they're going to gait the best. And usually if you start bringing their head down, they're going to go a little bit more towards the trotty side. So if you have a foxtrotter, you're trying to go towards the trotty side. So there, she was quite nice and it was quite smooth. So when you bring their heads up, it makes them a little bit more lateral, and when you bring their heads down, it brings them more towards the trotty side of the gaits. So there you see it was up and down, and she kind of changes her feet as she's going around, depending if I have her head up or down. So now I'm just trying to get her to relax and slow back down again. Now I have her on a looser rein, just letting her walk out and stretch her back out. And then she really was stiff. That's why I was doing all those circles and the bending and the serpentine. Because you got to get their body supple. It's not just bringing their head down. You got to get them to bend and give and relax their back. So there I'm backing up again. And then I just want, every time she stops, I want her to stop with her head down because she was pulling on the bit. So now you'll see I'm just scratching and giving her a nice big break for the hard work she did. She has to understand that nobody's going to, get after her anymore. And everything I do with her, I want to do it slowly and just 1 or 2 steps so she doesn't get too confused. So I'm touching her and making sure she's okay with everything, and then I can't remember if it's now or later, I start to do the turn on the forehand. And I just want a step or 2, but she's so used to being yanked around, she kind of spins around a little bit fast. So there I'm asking for steps. She's a little confused. Now she went much farther than I needed her to go, but she did that on her own. And when she gets a little frustrated or worried, you'll see she does give a little shake with her head. So she's doing it pretty good, but she's not really comfortable with it. I want her to be able to do it and not be worried about it at all. So now I'm testing her the other way, and there she went a little bit quick and a little bit farther. And so when I'm teaching her the turn on the forehand, I want to give her lots of breaks and just 1 or 2 steps and just let her know you don't have to spin around. It's not a rush. And then I was also testing to see if she knew how to side pass. So she knows a little bit, but you see her throwing her head, and she's doing it. A lot of gaited horses do it like this. They do the front end, then the back end, or the back end and then the front end. They don't do it together. So you kind of have to catch either the back end or the front end up with them. But she did pretty good. But see her shake her head, a little frustration there. So now I'm going back to get in front of the camera. And then I'm going to try, let's see which direction I go because I can't remember. So there she's confused. I didn't ask her to do that. She just started doing that. So I'm just talking to her like, it's okay. No, don't worry about it. You're fine. No, you're not supposed to go that way. Let's just go back over here. Good girl. You're okay. No, it's okay. You're fine. I gotcha. I'm going to show you what to do. So those are things I'm thinking in my head and then trying to tell her. She's like, no, I'm so confused. I don't know which way you want me to go. Please don't beat me up. Oh, it's okay. No, we'll just go back and straighten out again. I'm going to show you what to do. So I just keep asking and then see her hind quarter move over. I go, that's it. That's what I wanted. Good girl. Because she got confused. And a lot of time when you side pass one direction and then you go the other, they do get confused, especially if the people riding them didn't do it well. So now she's going the wrong way again. That's okay. I'm just talking to her and I'm pushing her over with my right leg. That's it. And you'll see my left leg, it was way off of her. There's a little frustration again. She's like, oh, it's so difficult. And I'm like, no, it's not. You got this. Oh, look at that. You're doing it. Yes, you got it. You're okay. Yep, you're going to be fine. So now I'm just letting her settle again. So with horses that get anxious, nervous, you want to let them sit a lot. And so they're not so worried they have to do something every couple of seconds. You know, when they do something right, then you want to get off. Because I was done. She did a good job for that first day, and that was actually a lot. Okay. She also didn't have her teeth done there, so we did get her teeth done. But overall, I think she did very well. She tried very hard, and hopefully that'll help some of you who have horses that are pulling on them or throwing their heads. Now I'm just talking to her, and there I gave her another little treat. So very sweet horse, just very confused.